Do you want to share a little bit more about surrender before you are serving your? So if you don't call them patients, what you call them, clients or
People.
People. Serving people.
I just use people. And it's so yes, I'd be happy to talk about surrender and a couple. Some of the one thing you touched on first that really caught my attention, where we were all talking about, is kind of the allopathic model, or another way of putting it is called a pathogenic model, which means looking at disease, fighting disease, treating disease. Part of the reason that Dr. Wade and I and our friends don't use that terminology is the freedom that it creates and gives people, but it's also just not true to what we do, in the sense that there's another form of care which is called salutogenic, which is very much championed by the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association, of which Wade and I are both members, where it is talking about how do we create health? How do we create more ease? How do we give positive input into a living system, whether that is a single person, a group of people, or a country or humanity, so that it continues to express more of that potential for health, healing, wellness, and well-being. And that's really what we do. And in the same way that whether I am working with someone who is literally on their deathbed, where I have been called to go into hospitals to help someone have more ease in their being as they as they graduate this earthly experience,
transition, right? Yeah.
or coming into the world, and everywhere in between. How do we help give positive input to help them have more ease?
Yeah, and I will say, so first of all, I'm in total agreement. People come to me and they give me all these disease states. I said, I actually don't work with disease states at all. I don't recognize that. I spent 2 decades with a misdiagnosis that allowed the allopathic model to go through their checkbox and get paid for putting me on 19 medications. Well, that didn't serve me, and it certainly didn't serve people, and it certainly didn't serve my employer, because of a misdiagnosis. And I was explaining this to one of our clients. Because of a misdiagnosis in 1997, even though I was a high performing employee, I was number 1 in sales, you can't sell enough to pay for 19 medications every single month. In other words, I was an expensive employee, right? I came in from the get-go, besides the fact of what it did to my body. We could just talk finance for a second, I mean, I'm an expensive employee just because somebody took a shortcut and wanted to put a check in a checkbox.
And to anyone listening please don't hear us as saying that your lived experience isn't real or isn't valid. We're offering a different framing for it, a different way of looking at it that from our experience allows radically different outcomes.
Right. So my symptoms were very valid. The label was not valid. In other words, there was an easy button attached to it. And that's really what we're talking about, is that there's actually an easy way to bring grace and ease into the body to live life at full potential.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so if we can choose to let go of labels, right, then we can also choose. We don't have to, like you said, we have to live into whatever labels somebody else gave us. And we can create our own destiny and our own ideas and our own identity based out of nothing at all other than our own creativity and what we want and to do with our lives.
And this is where, just bringing us back around to the surrender piece, what we're describing, there you have to surrender a little bit, just a little bit at first. We'll do more later. A little bit at first, little by little, to let go of the either actions that you previously taken in your life, the thought patterns or belief systems that led us here, the attachment to any number of different things that contributed to it. And it can be done little by little. Part of the reason that surrender, are you okay if I get a little metaphysical here?
Me? Are you kidding? Because
that was a definitely rhetorical question. I know.
Okay. Like, metaphysical queen, go ahead.
Part of the reason that surrender is so challenging is that throughout human history, surrender has meant death. I mean, whether you're looking at it from an epigenetic level or the cellular consciousness level, or you're looking at previous lifetimes, if you surrendered, you got your head chopped off. And so
cancel that in the world. Okay, go ahead.
Right. So it is part of the transition that we're making as a humanity right now, is we are shifting from a paradigm of drama, trauma, struggle, and suffering into a new paradigm that our healing, our lives, our evolution, our awakening can be safe. It can be gentle and it can be easy. And that is part of what contributes to, that is part of the reason that chiropractic is on the planet right now, that it was brought to us and that it has survived for this long and continues to serve people. It is a way of very gently, safely, and easily allowing the body and allowing all of our bodies, whether physical, emotional, energetic, mental, personality, our soul or our spirit bodies, to become more clear. And then we can get on with the human experience dance of that we came here to do. That spirit wanted to have this weird experiment of separation and duality and destiny and free will and emotionality and physicality. And so it first divided into souls, and then we decided, hey, let's take birth and let's work out some of our lessons and let's serve people and serve this grand experiment. And we got down here and it was a little bit intense. And this is one of the most consistent and efficient ways that I know of to help people up level, regardless of whether they are, as Wade might say, and I'm poking him a little bit so he talks about this, whether they are fall into the astute or non-astute category.
Wait, say that part again?
Wade, take it from here. Astute versus non-astute.
Yes. So this is a great segue into dropping into, however you want to say it, our brand of chiropractic, which we feel is so connected to the roots. And, Zelda mentioned earlier, like, what? I've never heard chiropractors speak like this. Well, this is the essence and origin of chiropractic. It got diluted and weeded out over time because it entered into a system that it was not welcome. We are not good. We are not good for profits. All right. Because as people become whole, they don't need all those other things. So it has strategically had massive propaganda campaigns launched against chiropractic to keep it small and keep it down. So even for your very high level and educated listeners here, chiropractic was never, ever, never, ever, never about neck and back pain. It was never about crunching the spine so you could alleviate or treat a symptom. Ever, never. It was about uniting man physical with man spiritual. It's founded upon the tone of life and being in harmony with that tone. This is what our original books, what our original founders talked about. And then with the advent of things like insurance coverage and that, it just made it worse. It's the worst thing we've ever done is fall into that, because now you do have to check a box. Is it a headache you're treating? Is it this? And the public is so confused on what chiropractic is. Now go into the piece that you're talking about of creating your own identity and inventing this. Well, good luck, people. Okay, because here's the thing, because for most people, Jody, who have read a lot of the books, it's living in the conceptual realm. Oh, I get it. The law of abundance, the law of attraction, but are they experiencing that moment to moment in their life? And the answer is no for most people. And if you are going to, whether it's your avenues or expressions or your talented practitioners who are on the call and in your circles, we might even say something, or a lot of chiropractors, well, what we're going to do is we're going to stabilize the spine so that you can have, Well, here's the thing. No, we're not. we're going to destabilize the spine, because in that neurospinal system are all the anchors to your identity, who you thought you were in this life, to the trauma, to the wounds. We actually have to, but in order to do that, you have to create safety. You can't just go in there guns a-blazing and blast people open, certainly if they don't agree to that in the first place, which is a lot of voracious practitioners want to try to give people what they want rather than what they are agreeing to. There's a whole nother conversation.
Well, yeah, it's a whole conversation just on whose agenda are you working with.
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's like a great cheat. It's like a great hack. This brand of chiropractic, which really is connected to the roots of chiropractic, in that all these conceptual realms of harmony with the laws of nature and inventing yourself and letting go of limiting beliefs becomes so much more easy and effortless through this methodology of chiropractic that brings all these honoring approaches into someone's journey and unfolding, because we are unraveling the deep anchors that are there in the neurospinal system and the physiology.